Hey everybody, welcome back. A bride asks, am I the a-hole for ruining someone's day during my wedding? Do you smell that? It's a new series. I love the smell of Bridezillas in the morning. Throwaway account because I have relatives who use Reddit. I recently got married a few days ago. It was a traditional Punjabi wedding and I had an absolute blast. For some context, I have 3 brothers and no sisters. In traditional Indian weddings, there are certain ceremonies where you would need your female relatives to be a part of. Since I have no sisters, my cousins stepped in. My families have always had a strained relationship with one another, always due to some petty fights that occurred years ago that some of the relatives just can't let go of. Most of the cousins don't partake in this because we're aware that it's ridiculous. I have one cousin I'll name X, who is extremely nice but unfortunately super shy and timid. She's always been like this, and most of us have just grown up being protective of her, especially since she's one of the youngest cousins. During one of the ceremonies, I insisted that my cousin be a main part of it because I know she would genuinely enjoy it, but would be shy to volunteer herself or ask for it. One of my cousin's fiancés, however, is quite the opposite. She constantly likes to put herself in the middle of everything, despite already being told of her given duties during the ceremony. This is the part where I may be the asshole. I'm ready. During one of the ceremonies, you are supposed to have one of your female relatives sit behind you on stage and basically just take care of you, fix your hair or your clothes. I specifically told cousin X that she would be the one to do this for me. However, when the day came, my cousin's fiance was the one who took her spot. I was confused, but could not do much. After the ceremony, I found cousin X, and she explained to me that the fiance who took her spot basically scolded her, yelled at her, and said that she should be the one doing it since cousin X is still young and doesn't know anything. She then told cousin X to go down with the other guests despite cousin X's protests. Cousin X's mother, my auntie, who I absolutely adore and has been a huge help with the wedding, was quite upset with this, but I did not want to cause a scene and just told cousin X it's okay. When I heard this, I was furious. The fiancé took what was meant to be a special moment and made it all about herself. I sat the fiancé down and told her that she had no right to do what she did, and I was extremely upset with her for doing so. Apparently, she was so upset by this conversation, she refused to come to the other ceremonies the next day. I was fine with this because I generally don't like adults who throw temper tantrums, but my cousin says that I had no right to speak to his fiancé like that, and now his entire family has been constantly saying a lot of negative things about my family and the whole situation. Am I the a-hole? Nah. And this is your reminder to subscribe because, I don't know if you've checked, but we're really close to 1 million subs. And I say we because it's not just me, it's us. I think that brides have a right to want things done a certain way at their wedding. Okay? Despite the fact that everybody thinks that, if you make any requests, you're a bridezilla and, oh, she's so, high maintenance or whatever the hell they say. This is what you wanted for your wedding. And it was no right of your cousin's fiance to go against what you wanted. And it also kind of sounds like your family just sort of picks up on all the petty BS and just runs with it. No, you're not the a-hole. If she didn't want you to ruin her day, then she shouldn't have done what she did. Actions have consequences, friends. People can't be mad when you express boundaries if they're the ones that are pushing those boundaries. Know what I mean? Not the a-hole. Man, a Desi wedding is not complete until all the relatives are mad at each other. I feel like all families are the same. It's like the idea of meeting up as a family is like, oh my God, it's so fun. We haven't had a family reunion in so long. And it's like, oh, this is why. I hope you had a really nice wedding and that cousin X was able to help you out in other ways. What did your parents think of it all? My mother is no longer around. She passed away 6 years ago, which is why my auntie has been such a huge help. She basically stepped in and took the role of my mother without me having to ask because she understood. They helped to pay for parts of the wedding, especially with the hall rentals, the catering and the decorations for each ceremony. My father says that I should just apologize and get the whole thing over with, but I am hesitant because why would I allow her to just get away with doing this? Apologizing is overrated. Everyone's always like, be the bigger person, apologize. Why? What if I don't want to be the bigger person? What if I just want to be petty? It's our Desi way to tell the children to apologize. Doesn't matter who is right or who is wrong. I think you need to talk to your auntie and cousin X and tell them what's going on. They're probably facing some blowback as well. I'd keep a united front. All right. You are not a bridezilla, my dear. Congratulations. This one ended up being deleted. because it got a little sassy in the comments. Much debate was had. Bridezilla's just rile people up. What can I say? Am I the a-hole for my strict no plus ones policy? I'm getting married, and like every other bride, I too have certain rules I want for my wedding to go smoothly. One of them is no plus ones. Only people named in the invitation are invited. The criteria I have for both people who will get to bring their partners are: 1, both me and my fiance know of you and your partner and have met them. If I know your partner and my fiance doesn't, that disqualifies them and vice versa. 2, if I personally go to dinner with you and your partner. 3, if I'd invite your partner as a separate person anyway and not just because they're your partner. And 4, if your partner is also a friend of mine. Those who meet that criteria get to bring their partners. If they don't, then they don't bring them. Simple. Okay. That also excludes long-term relationships, engaged couples, and married couples. Okay. We know it might seem harsh, but those are the rules we've decided to set so we can be more comfortable. It has nothing to do with budget or venue capacity, purely our choice. Okay, so then if it has nothing to do with budget or venue capacity, I can understand not wanting, everybody to bring an extra person that you have to pay for that you don't know. Go on. Go on. Several people have denied the invitation to our wedding due to these rules. One of them is also my cousin. My cousin has been engaged to this girl for 1 year now, and he was upset we didn't include her. The reason she was excluded was because my fiance hasn't met her, and she's not a person I'd personally be friends with either. I told my cousin how heartbroken I am that he will not come to the wedding due to this, and I expressed my distaste for the fact that he can't be away from his fiance for a few hours to honor me and my fiance. Couples don't have to be together the whole time. Then he basically told me I'm being extremely disrespectful and a huge a-hole. I asked him to explain, and he said word for word, let me get this clear. You want me to come to honor your wedding, honor your love story and all that, but you can't respect me enough to invite my fiance. I can be without my fiance for several hours. Heck, we'd even spend days apart and vacations with our own separate friend groups sometimes. But what bothers me is not being away from my fiance for some hours, but the fact that you excluded her for those reasons. I told him those are the rules, take it or leave it. He says he finds my rules extremely disrespectful, but since it's my wedding, he has no say in it. I told him good and to stop bullshitting me and show his support and respect by attending. He says that while he respects my extremely exclusive and disrespectful rules, I'm a fool to believe that he will care more about valuing my wedding over his fiance. I mean, here's the thing, you can make those rules. You can have strict rules for your wedding, but don't expect people to abide by them. Maybe people are uncomfortable going to a wedding without their partner. I know that I would want to bring a date to a wedding. You're the a-hole for guilt tripping with your cousin and anyone else you try to pull. Your wedding, your rules, but people are allowed to not attend for not liking your rules. Suck it up. This person's screen name is pissing off people. Appropriate, I think. Look, for the millionth time, weddings aren't just for the couple. They are community affairs. They're celebrations of marriage and coupling itself, not just this particular marriage. No one should come to a wedding who doesn't support that particular marriage, but also who doesn't support marriage and the kind of family building marriage represents. But there's reverse logic as well. Attendance and invitations must also respect coupling and marriage and the family building created by unrelated people who must come together to form a new family. If you forefront the particular couple's desire above institution or coupledom or marriage itself, then why are you having a traditional wedding? You could go in front of a clerk at City Hall or dance naked under the moon or have a couple's mud bath accompanied by a drum circle and solemn swearing. OP wants the benefit of all traditions without sharing that benefit around, and you can't get without giving. You're the a-hole. I've never heard it described in that way. Weddings are kind of a celebration of the sanctity of marriage. That's why it is like normal to bring a date to a wedding. So yeah, I can see that. It depends on what you feel a wedding should represent. I think that's more your opinion than anything. You're the a-hole. You want people to come celebrate your marriage and your relationship by asking them to leave their spouse or long-term partner at home. You are misusing the words +1. That is intended for truly single people. Established couples are to be treated as a unit. Sure, your wedding and your rules and all that BS, but if you create BS rules like this, then you have to expect people to decline. If I had a relative tell me my spouse wasn't invited because of circumstances, hadn't allowed the two of them to meet yet, I'd decline too. I'm gonna say that you're not the a-hole for creating rules for your wedding, but you are the a-hole for trying to guilt trip people into following your rules. You're a bridezilla. And of course, Reddit did dub this person the a-hole. Bride asks, am I the a-hole for telling her fiance she doesn't want his female best friend at their wedding? Juicy. Oh, this one's also been removed. Juicy, juicy. My fiance has a female best friend since childhood. Now, I'm not the person who gets jealous over my partner being friends with the opposite gender. I'm bisexual, so it wouldn't be rational of me to have some weird expectations like this. Not sure if that correlates, but okay. Plus, my fiance has many female friends as a straight guy, and I have friends of both genders as well. What bothers me here is not the gender of the friend, but whether or not they're able to respect boundaries. So I make the same talk if the friend in question was a male. So, to the point, his female best friend, Rachel, has always been in competition with me regarding on who's more important and a bigger priority to my fiance. At first, my fiance failed to stand up to her and set boundaries, but after a small break we had, and after we reconciled, he realized the importance of boundaries and set hard boundaries with her. I know that whenever she sees me or hears about me, she's not happy, but we act kind to each other despite our actual feelings. The situation, by the way, has been rolling out for the past 5 years that I've been with my fiance. When he proposed, Rachel didn't congratulate us at all and completely overlooked our entire engagement and kept referring to me as my fiance's girlfriend. My fiance kept correcting her each time, telling her how she's not funny or quirky doing this. She's just disrespectful, and after a certain point, she stopped. Now that we are planning our wedding, we picked our groomsmen and bridesmaids, and my fiance has his female friends as one of his groomsmen, a groomswoman. After my fiance asked her to join that role, she texted me a lengthy paragraph which summed up to,
just so you know, your fiance and I are still each other's priority. You may marry him and have kids with him, share a house with him, but right now, he picked me as a groomswoman knowing that would bother you because he cares about not hurting my feelings more than your feelings. You can easily ruin friendships like that. Just stay in your lane and accept your place. You may be his wife, but I'm his best friend and I'm not going anywhere. Make peace with it, and who knows, soon enough, we might get along.
Those are some fighting words, Rachel. It's kind of intense. I feel like she's just like waiting for you guys to like break up. It's a bit weird. My spidey senses are going off and I don't even know her. I showed my fiance and he said he'll deal with her and I shouldn't worry. I told him I've had enough and that the only solution I'm accepting is proper consequences for her actions. This means she's either dropped as a groomswoman or uninvited. He makes the call for which one it will be, but I'm tired of his best friend not having real consequences of her actions and getting her way. I won't trust him enough to proceed with our wedding if he doesn't set clear limits and make his friend face the consequences of her behavior. He said what I'm doing is very unfair because he's not responsible for her actions and feels like I'm putting unnecessary responsibility and pressure on him. Am I the a-hole? No. No, you're not. I think she's got it a little twisted. Rachel does. You're the wife. You have the precedence. Spouses above all things, okay? Above best friends, above parents, maybe kids come first, but spouses are the top of the food chain. Don't eat your spouse. I don't know, this whole thing kind of irks me a little bit. Like, I feel like she's just waiting around for her, like, chance with him. She's getting, like, super weird and territorial over it. And, like, it's your wedding and his wedding. I don't like that. I would feel super uncomfortable with having her, like, not only a part of the wedding party, but at the wedding itself. Not the a-hole, but Rachel wasn't wrong when she said he cared more about her feelings than yours. Yeah, see, this is the issue here is I feel like the feeling between them is mutual. You know? Like the fiance and Rachel, like I feel like he needs to either recognize that you are going to be his wife and what you want matters most. I don't like that doesn't see that. Please consider if you want to be the second most important person in your marriage. I don't think, what's the point of getting married then? Not the a-hole, you're not being remotely unfair. The only response to that text is him telling her to get not just in regards to the wedding, his entire life. If someone had sent something half as bad as that to my husband, I would let them know that they were, for all intents and purposes, dead to me. I would not marry this man unless he takes the appropriate action. This is insanity. When I tell you that my spidey senses are like... Not the a-hole. If your fiance's response to Rachel is anything other than, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't want you at my wedding or in my life until you apologize to my future wife and realize that she is my priority from now on, then I think you are right to be concerned that he does indeed care more about her feelings than yours. She is way out of her lane sending you a message like that. Who does that? I agree. Your fiance might not be responsible for her behavior, but he is responsible for setting boundaries. We love a good boundary. We love them. I'm getting better at it. I am a doormat, but boundaries are important. Boundaries mean nothing without consequences! Say it louder for the people in the back. I might get a noise complaint if I say it louder, but you guys can say it louder. You are right to expect him to set the tone now for what he will allow Rachel to get away with, and refuse to get married until he shows you that you truly are his priority, even when it puts him in the middle of a conflict. All right, my dear, you are not a bridezilla. Subscribe